Felt nice. Let's go have some fun. Woo! Woo!
Western bei der Zwischenzeit Horseshoe.
Yes!
Welcome back to Lake Placid in the Adirondack Mountains in upstate New York on a cold and windy afternoon as we are getting ready for our final deciding run in the Men's Skeleton World Championships. Hello everybody, Martin Haven and Sarah Roderick from the USA watching the action. And Sarah, a very different track today from yesterday's mild and slightly soft conditions, but it seems that actually it hasn't made a huge difference to the overnight pecking order.
Yeah, they've done a really great job kind of handling these changes. I think that a lot of these athletes were ready and prepared just based on those really cold temperatures early on in this week, and so at least they had kind of somewhere to gauge from coming into today.
Marcus Wyatt was tied with Axel Jungk for second place after the first heat. After the second heat, he was in second place on his own. Now he's slipped behind Axel into third place with a slightly disappointing third heat. That means that Axel Jungk now moves up into the silver medal position. He's had a couple of silver medals in World Championship outings before, never had the gold, but the gap is very small, and they are definitely not immune to attack from behind. The man who looks like he's got everything taped is Matt Weston. 4 tenths up in the first heat, 9 tenths up after the second. He has increased that lead by another substantial margin and is 1.65 seconds clear. Now we're verging into kind of record-winning margin territory here. And Matt Weston, if he has a fourth heat like the previous three, is going to be on the bus back home before anybody else finishes their run. So we were just having a little talk before we came on air. To me, as a layman watching this, Matt Weston, Christopher Grotehair, they're the two in the field who can really produce something very, very different to everybody else on occasion. And this seems to be one of those occasions for Matt.
Definitely. I think, honestly, the top 4 or 5 right now all have that opportunity. But like you said, Christopher and Matt really just have this extra special kind of calmness to them when they slide. They let it go. They always seem to be on line. Right kit, really good pushes. So
And maybe part of it is just the familiarity with winning. It becomes not expected, but something that's not a surprise, maybe, or not a shock. Well, it started to snow as well, so air temperature hovering around -3, ice -6. It's pretty cold.
Getting colder, yeah, for sure.
And the wind is definitely picking up. There's Matt.
Good.
Finger guns, gotta love some finger
Always
guns.
the finger guns.
I'm afraid of skeletons. Well, no, don't do that. And what's the second one say? But when I finish in under a minute. Okay, moving on.
Those are Austin Florian's friends and family there. There's always a party there.
I seem to recall that from the World Cup a couple of years ago. Now then, our top 25 go in reverse order. So Israel's Jared Firestone goes off first. And Austin Florian, well, where's he going to end up? He needs to just have a smooth, relaxed run. And then there's just the possibility he might challenge for a medal, because it's more likely that people are going to lose ground than make up ground. It's easy to give away speed, isn't it? Especially in this place.
Definitely, especially with that fourth heat pressure. So.
All right, no pressure at all for Jared Firestone of Israel. He's made the cut in his first World Championships, and he is in the top 25. So whatever he does now is all gravy. 5:06 to get away. And that's actually his second fastest of the competition.
Definitely, I think that the grooves maybe are a little less sticky. It looks like pretty slick up top, a little skid going into 4. Manages it nicely. I'm sure Jared's going to be stoked with this finish here. Just being able to make that cut and be in the mix is massive for him.
Well, this is a really nice little kind of rounding of the circle, because his first ever skeleton race was here in November 2019. His first World Championships is here 6 years later. And there you go. That's coming back to a very familiar comfort blanket with a different kind of pressure on him, but he's responded really well, I think.
Absolutely. Just taking a couple taps in chicane, that's all right. He kept the sled parallel. Just cruising right through the bottom here.
So we've got Israel represented in men's skeleton. We'll have an Israel bobsled as well in the men's competition.
That's Jared's best time of the 4 heats there, so I'm sure he's going to be happy to end on that.
And by a margin, 54.99, first sub-55 run. You saw Jack Thomas and Meg Henry there at the top helping out with the coaching for Jared during the season. And I imagine he's largely self-funded. Friends and family tend to play a big part in every athlete's growing career, and I'm sure that's the case for Jared as well.
Absolutely. I know that he also works on the side as well, like most of us do, so...
Well, and again, that's, you know, in the digital age, that's so much more possible than it was even sort of 6 or 7 years ago, when you'd have to send a letter if you wanted to converse with somebody from Europe. Well, not a bad-looking run. There you go. Top 25, made the cut, and he has broken his duck in the World Championships. Next up for Belgium, Colin Freeling. Spoke to his dad a couple of minutes ago. Colin disappointed to have slipped a little down the order from the overnight position, but final run, time to get it all back together. Kenny Howard, GB skeleton coach, yelling him off at the top. Colin trains with the British athletes, uses a Kristen Bromley sled.
I think Colin's really going to be looking forward here. I mean, he had his best run of the race so far last one, and I know that he can clean up a few things. And so heading into 4 here, he's got a little nose down skid. We want to make sure that we're staying parallel up through there, kind of creating a rainbow effect, as Andrew Blazer would say, going through. Little flop out of 5. And just that little later line into 10, but is really doing a good job of keeping that sled parallel.
23rd overnight, slipped 1 to 24th place. This is a good run though. He's easing away from Jared Firestone. He's in the green, which means he's ahead by half a second now. Slightly better speed as well. So how far can Colin Freeling progress? Well, the man who's in front of him might move up again, but that's not to say that anybody won't move back. 54.84 slide, exactly the same as his previous trip today. So getting consistency in for a slightly faster start.
I think he'll be happy with that consistency for sure, kind of ending on. I know he has a team race coming up tomorrow too with Aline, so looking to kind of build on that confidence here. Big smiles for the loud crowd. Rowdy
crowd down there.
Little extra height coming out of 3. So he hits the wall really early on instead of taking that lower brush. He just kind of puts him into a skid.
Yeah, he's quite tall and lean, so he's hoping to put on a little bit more muscle, and particularly looking at his sprinting speed at the University of Bath with the British team. He'll be training there all summer long. Yeah, his mum and dad are down there as well, watching with loads of other rowdy fans. So the man who overhauled Colin is Seunggi Jung of Korea. He said earlier on that he had a really badly damaged lower back in the pre-season and off-season during the summer, and has really struggled for any kind of speed or fitness. Nevertheless, he's still driving well, but off a very tardy start by his stretch. So 5:17 getaway.
Big skid, long skid, toe drag in between 1 and 2. Just a little unsettled on that sled.
Start record is 4:70, and he has not been far away from that in the past. So to be 3/4 slower shows that he really is going to need some fitness to be able to compete next year.
And like we said last run, it's kind of all about getting back that feel on the sled, making sure that you're still familiar with it, and really just working on that driving. Where can I relax more? Where can I, change my nose angle a little bit here and there?
And getting points and making sure that you stay high enough up in the IBSF overall rankings.
120 is pretty good speed there on the bottom. Sorry to interrupt you, but really good speed, all things considered.
54.32 across the line. So Colin Freeling will move out to the leader's box. And actually, with the wind whipping across the finish deck, and it's, I don't know, -15 with wind chill, probably not too disappointed. You don't want to be hanging around there too long.
No.
And certainly not without a coat.
I can tell you those speed suits are not warm.
You're kidding, really. All the temperature protection of a swimsuit. Big steer going on. You see swinging from the hips. That's a big steering. Great how much you see in these slow-mo shots that just whistles by you.
Definitely, especially when you can actually see how much movement there is underneath your sled, and in that case, unfortunate skid. But he's happy. He's happy to be here.
Yes.
Awesome.
I bet there were times in the summer where he thought he was not going to be at any races this year, never mind in the Worlds. Next up then, for Spain, Adrian Rodriguez. And the 28-year-old now, actually, in his 3rd World Championships. And he will be competing in the teams competition as well with 18-year-old Clara Atznar, his young teammate.
Yeah, super happy and proud of the Spanish team. I know, again, they've been building with Andre, trying to gain more interest and participation in the sport, and they've done a really great job, and these athletes are great ambassadors for that.
Yeah, absolutely are.
Adrian's been sliding really well. He's one thing that I think you really need as a skeleton slider is that relaxation, and he has that. He takes the hits, he doesn't tense up over them, he doesn't bring his shoulders super high. He's done a great job, and that's a track where they can get you.
And he really tries to hold his form as well. He knows the aerodynamic form is important, and sometimes you just have to take the hits and live with it. So easing away initially from Seunggi. It's down to 2300s as he comes into the heart. Out of 18 into corner 19, climbing to the finish line. This might not be far away. 800s back.
So that's a great run.
Yeah. All right, so he slips one, or rather, let's be honest, actually Jung climbs another one. I think that's more the way it is. If he'd been entirely fit, we'd expect to see Jung very much in the top 10, probably in the top 6.
Yeah.
So
I think that just adds more excitement heading into Olympic year.
Yeah.
Who comes back from injuries, who's healthy.
Adrian definitely enjoying his ice sliding. They're supposed to be disappointed to get back to some summer warmth in Spain, but
I think all of us would appreciate that.
So just 800s back, and any of these little skids or taps are going to cost you much more than that.
Yeah, when you think of it as 100th here, 100th there, there's 19 corners. That's almost 2 tenths.
So Seunggi of Korea is our current race leader. 4 sleds down, and the 5th of our 25 final heat runners is Ukraine's Yaroslav Lavreniuk. And Yaroslav, silver medalist in the Youth Olympic Games in Pyeongchang in 2024. And growing fast, maliciously growing out of his clothes overnight. He's at that teenage age.
Which is always a good thing in skeleton, right?
Yeah, long and lean really works aerodynamically.
I remember when I saw him in a speed suit last year that was loose on him. So he's really getting stronger, working on that start. Trying to balance out that sled a bit.
It's his second World Championships. He competed in Winterberg last year, finished 27th, so didn't make the cut. So, you know, now we're nearly 10 spots up on that.
Really nice looking 10, 113 speed out of there. That should transition well down to the bottom, heading into curve 14. Nice looking chicane, shot right through the middle there.
Third best speed, he's going to save that gap over Jung. He will be the leader at the line, 1700s, 54.26 run. In fact, Jung only managed a 54.32, so on that single run alone, then Yaroslav outdrove the Korean.
That was the best run of his race as well. I think that's got to be a good feeling to finish on that too.
Yeah. Constant improvement, whether you're fast or last, that's how it all gets. Yeah, it's the human condition, isn't it? Always looking to be a better you. And to a degree, that's the only way you can really judge the sport as an athlete, is not where everybody else is, because their journey started in a different place. You can only judge how you're improving against what you did last time out.
Absolutely, and that can be really hard, I know, for a lot of athletes trying to compare to, you know, to the Christophers, to the Matts, and it's sometimes you got to reel it back a little bit and focus on what you've done better.
He's got a really strong team behind him, so they'll be delighted with that performance. He'll be no worse than 21st. Next up is Nick Timmings from Australia. He's in his 4th World Championships. Made his World Championship debut back in 2015 in Winterberg in Germany. Raced in Whistler in 2019 and most recently in 2021 in Altenburg. So he doesn't choose the easy tracks for his World Championship appearances.
5:07 start, that's telling me that the group is definitely speeding up a little bit, which is kind of exciting for the next few sliders coming up in that top group. But Nick Timmings, again, knows his track really well. He's looking to build 4/10 ahead. Hopefully can build that speed through the highway here.
Well, we've seen a few sliders already making their last runs in a World Championship. Nick's 34, prime of his career in terms of knowledge and athletic ability, but Dean's already retired and gone to live in the real world, and I wonder whether Nick is in his final ever World Championship run right now. I'm not writing him off, it's just a question.
I think for a lot of athletes, it's an interesting time of year. You know, just think of every time of your sport when the last might be coming.
Yeah.
Because it's an addictive sport.
Yes,
you think it's your last run and then you go again.
Well, yeah, Leslie Stratton, you just saw, you know, she rounded out her career a couple of seasons ago, but still, you know, involved and giving back what you take out. And I have no idea what Nick's plans for the future are, but if that's his final ride, it's a good place to do it. And it was a nice looking couple of days of action from Nick Timmings.
If you're looking for some good content, follow Nick on Instagram. Great videos. That elbow sticking out. A little unsure of his line, probably coming out. Just clipped that little edge of chicane in there.
Good season. Proud of that one.
Good. Love to hear it.
Good way to end up. Yeah, nice stuff. So good stuff from Nick Timmings. He holds his place. He will be at least 20th position, and that will be his World Championship best ever result. 19th after 3 heats, a slip of 2 from his overnight spot for Vincent Spurf. In fact, a slip of 4, he was 15th equal.
Getting a little close to his sled there, managed it well not to step on that sled or pop a groove. Hopefully he can bring some velocity at 5:20 start. Not quite the quickest, but settles in well up top. Tough skid.
Yeah, not quite as composed on the sled, it seems, in these quicker conditions than he was yesterday. And the irony is that this is more like the speed of ice that they trained on for 2 days early this week, Monday and Wednesday.
third best speed coming in, which is good.
So in the red behind Nick Timmings by just a tenth, coming down to just a half tenth. Yes, he does. To the 100th of the line. Are we going to have a dead heat in the final run? We might do. He's level. He's 400s up. There you go. And he's 400s up because his 54.35 is exactly the same that Nick has just set. And that 400s is the 3-run aggregate difference between them. So he just clings on. And again, you almost breathe in the wrong place on this sledge, you're going to lose 400s. That's half the time it takes to blink your eye.
Incredible.
Yeah, insanely close. And any of these little moments, a tiniest skid, just a toe drag, a tap of anything, that's tenths rather than hundreds of seconds.
See a nice toe drag coming out of 14. Just try to realign that sled.
Yeah, we'll see you next season. So everybody's already made their plans for where they're going to lie on the beach for a couple of weeks and then get into it again, because the Olympics is coming towards us like a train at the other end of the tunnel. And for Sammy Maier, this is the end of a season to forget. He's had such a stellar season, comfortably his best ever. And then it's all come unraveled like a ball of wool caught on a nail here. It's just been a disaster.
We've kind of seen Sammy have similar mistakes in similar parts of the track, and kind of sometimes that can kind of get in your head as an athlete. You can kind of wrestle with it all week, and then race day comes and you try to forget about it, and it still just pops up and can build. So again, Sammy's had an amazing season. He's an internet sensation now, so that's pretty cool. I know that he can slide better than what he's produced here. So
this is looking a lot better than his previous runs. I mean, he's coming from deep in the field, so it's not going to make a notifiable difference.
That's
but
the best 12-13 transition he's had.
Well, if you're going to have one run that's half decent.
Much better chicane. Up in the 120s, that's where you would expect Sammy to be with the level of sliding that he's produced this season.
Yeah. It's been such a strong season.
Much better for Sammy.
Yeah, 53.75. That's his best run at the competition. That's not just because the track is a little quicker. That definitely looked like he was more in control of the sled than he has looked in the previous 3 runs. It sort of looked like it was taking him down, not the other way round.
Better to get this out now, though, than the Olympics, right?
Well, there you go. You know, every cloud has a silver lining, and it's not the games.
A lot of fans out here on this Friday. It's great to see everybody out here. Trying to fight that back over just to be a little bit earlier. Great correction coming out of 14. You could see it's minuscule, but you can see his nose direction just change a little bit so he stays away from that wall. And that's a level that Sammy's at.
Yeah. One final decent run. So for Laurence Bostock of Great Britain, similar deal. He maybe in his first ever World Championships would have hoped for a little bit more. Start draw number 16, that shows his overall ranking in the IBSF points, and he's currently in 17th place. So you'd have to say he's pretty much on par with where he might be expected to be. Let's see if he can add a little bit more vim to the final run.
492 start.
Nobody's starting quite as quick as they did in the first heat today, so maybe the wind is just starting to have an effect. It's all covered up at the top, so it shouldn't do, but
you still feel it though. It definitely can sneak in. Nice looking highway. Pretty late going into 10. Doing a lot of work to keep that sled low. 7th best speed is kind of what you would expect with that. Bit of a skid again. That's the trust that you need to be able to build out at 12. And
Sammy Maier's going to pick up a spot here. He's gone from 2200s up to 1200s back, and we're getting on for 3/10 at the line. Larry doesn't quite have the speed in the bottom half of the run, 54.13. So Sammy Maier will remain in the leader's box for at least one sled. So he will pick up a spot, be no worse than 17th. Laurence Bostock, his first World Championships, will post no worse than an 18th place finish. And again, you can't judge yourself against your teammates. They've got a different experience level, they've got different, you know, ability level at this level, and familiarity with being in the lead. You've got to gauge how you are against yourself.
Nice Larry chant going on in the background.
Yeah. Well, anybody who's friends and family of an athlete who's ever been here before, they'll have been told what a nice town this is to come and stay in and come and slide. So yeah, it is a great place to come and watch the racing. Now then, Rasmus Johansen again, a little bit disappointed like Sami Maier, I think. His first heat, only 21st fastest, then 14th fastest, 9th fastest in the first heat today is where we expected to see him in all 3 runs so far. So for redemption, let's see if he can swing and hit this out of the park.
4:89 start, that's tying his fastest from yesterday, especially with these slower grooves. I think he's going to be really pleased with that. Good velocity coming down. Just hoping he can settle in on this sled, keep those feet together. Really fidgety. Big hit before 5, that's going to send you late and kind of offline through this highway here. You'll see again that dropping sensation through until 10 here.
Still just 22, 3rd World Championships for Rasmus. His young sister Nana is now sliding at the World Cup level as well.
It's so fun to watch them in the team race. They are such a thrill. My goodness. If I could race with my brother, that would be incredible. Yeah,
the last team race, we had a brother and sister team and cousins in a team as well. So yeah, it was less national and more family.
Yes, family affair.
Yeah, across the line behind Sami Maier by 3/10. He slips a spot as well. So Rasmus working with the German team. They've taken the Danes under their wing. Near neighbours, of course, and he's a roommate of Christopher Grote here, so firmly plugged into the whole ethos and that knowledge base in the German team. And yeah, a disappointing day one. I think he's really turned it around, and he's certainly turned that frown upside down, hasn't he?
Enjoying it for sure, and I think that this is just the beginning for him. You know, working with the Germans is going to produce a lot of, you know, knowledge, technology, all of that. So it's only the first step.
And that'll only stop when he starts beating them.
Yeah, then we'll see what happens.
Then the taps are turned off. By about that stage, he'll have learned what he needs to know. And that's the Rasmus we know, ebullient and enjoying himself. He didn't look like that yesterday. So Sami Maier leads Rasmus Johansen and Laurence Bostock. 10 down, 15 to go here in Lake Placid. Into the top 15, and Italy's Mattia Gaspari, not just an Italian, but from Cortina d'Ampezzo, the venue for the sliding in the next Winter Games, less than 12 months from now. What can he produce in 12 months? Well, let's hope it's better than a top 15 finish on home ice. He'll have very little extra knowledge compared to anybody else, though, so it is definitely going to be a really tough games for the Italians to excel.
A little bit of a skid coming out of 1 there, but manages to get it back online with that slower start. He does already have kind of that deficit to make up down the track, which we obviously know he can do. Late into 8, flying out. Holy moly, he almost lost his sled. It's going to be a tough one for Mattia. No speed coming out of 10. Not what we're used to. Really early into 12, but unfortunately he has no speed to fly him off.
Yeah, I think Sami Maier's going to pick up another one here. Yes, he's already in the red. Gone from 5,900s up, and he will probably be the better part of half a second back. So
big scorpion into 19. This is not the run Mattia was looking for.
He might even drop out of the top 20. He's 4th at the moment with 14 to go. So yeah, disastrous final run. And again, said this right at the beginning, it's no guarantee that everybody's going to hold their place. It doesn't take much. I mean, you know, I don't know this track the way that you do, Sarah, so
you can tell he's pretty upset. I mean, he's always given a nice bow to the crowd there. He loves the energy, but I know Mattia, and he's not happy right now.
No, he'll be absolutely gutted. But this is, you know, you're not taking it easy. You are hanging it out every time you slide.
Huge hit. Yeah. And just unable to even be on the sled going into 10, which is risky in itself. Just a big flop out of 18. He took that big hit before. And yeah, once you're offline on this track, it is really hard to get back.
Well, he'll have one more run in the team's competition to try and make peace with Lake Placid for another season. Felix Keisinger, well, will he go in the team's race? I'm not sure. Normally it's only the top two, so unless Christopher Groth here or Axel Jungk don't think we'll see Keisi again this season. And we'll go back home for more post-season training for a couple of weeks.
Pulling for Keisi here, I know that he's maybe not had the best few runs that he wanted to put down or that he's able to, but I think that, you know, last run of the race, hopefully that you can just let all that pressure go away.
Well, the definition of racing is that you almost always don't get the run you're looking for.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you'd win everything.
Yes.
So that is part of it, isn't it? Is dealing with the frustration and leaving it in the past.
Little late going into 10, high above those letters, might kind of come out drifting left. 6th best speed isn't really something that you'd be looking at for Keisi.
Again, Sami Maier might find another victim here. From 7600s up, he hasn't really stopped the bleeding. From 56 down to 3500s.
It'll be close, but I think he should be okay. Not enough track left.
Yeah, should have enough. No major disasters. He comes across the line, the second fastest run of the heat so far, but he is in the lead of the race with some 13 sleds still to go. All right, so again, a little bit of this. We're going to say that a lot today. Possibly not in the women's race, because that's going to be absolutely mayhem, but a little bit of redemption. Not a happy Keisi, I'm afraid.
I hate seeing not a happy Keisi.
Yeah. Listen, any other day this season to be ahead of Sami Maier, you'd have had a really good day.
It's true.
Unfortunately, today, neither for Sami, or these 2 days, neither for Sami or for Keisi, has it been a good day. Getting lots of support from the crowd, though.
We should probably start paying Matt Weston's dad to run these crowds here.
He's the cheerleader. So, for Dan Barefoot and the USA, 14th, 16th and 7th fastest runs. The track really coming into a sweet spot for Barefoot in the first run today. Moved up to 13th place. Let's see if he can climb closer to a top 10.
A 94 start, so almost identical to his first run here. Again, Dan knows this track really well. He started his career here. We used to plop in Lake Placid for a couple months at a time with Don Haas, just taking run after run after run. And I think that that experience is going to really bode well for him here.
16th place last time out in Winterberg, Germany a year ago. So this is going to be in personal best territory in terms of World Championships for Dan if he can hold his spot.
2nd best speed.
Got a really good drive out of Shady. You can see that when they aviate off the corner.
Yeah, that was kind of a surprise there.
Yeah. Well, he's gone from 1700s over Keisi to 4600s up. It's a really big run from Dan Barefoot.
Really letting it fly here. This is going to be Dan's best finish this year on store on circuit. So Matt Antoine's happy about that one.
53.83. He was actually quicker in the previous run, but that was flying as well. So compared to those around him, he has held his speed, and that could move him up the other. There's Cardboard Dan, look at that.
Cardboard Dan. There's Carly grabbing the sled. The U.S. hired a sports analyst, a data analyst a couple years ago, and she's been on tour with us. Friends and family of Dan, so stoked, so happy for him. Really capping off a season where he's been really consistent, kind of hovering in that 20 range, up now into the teens is absolutely incredible for him.
Great day too for Dan Barefoot. Previous best in the World Championships, 22nd. Wow. Wow, yeah.
Let's go! Come on, Austin!
Do you know what? He might end up being 10 spots better than Winterberg. That's not beyond the bounds of possibility. Even if Alex Schlintner holds his spot, there's no guarantee that the next few do. And Alex was only 600s ahead. So what he's got to do is outdrive a stoked-up American on this American track.
That's going to be hard to do.
But there we go. Again, his third heat, the first one today, was a really nice one. He just looked comfortable and relaxed. And maybe that's sometimes what happens overnight. You just go, okay, right, it's what it is. Fine, I'm going to go out and enjoy day two.
Definitely. I think for Schlitner here, he's not normally in this position as the top Austrian, and so I think that he's just kind of taking it all in and letting the sled fly. Like we said before, he's just been building speed late, which has been really phenomenal. So far, great looking highway, really smooth. Ooh, pretty big bit of a flop there. Late into 10, this is going to crush him, I think, unfortunately, unless he can build it back in. 8th best speed, I don't think he's going to be able to catch Dan Barefoot at this point.
Yeah, Barefoot's going to move up. Watch the margin at the line. 38 hundredths back is Felix Keisinger in second place. This could still be second at the line. I think he might have lost too much speed. Sammy Maier is 67 hundredths back, and at the line, he is the best Austrian. He does lose out to Dan Barefoot, but he stays ahead of Keisinger, and he stays ahead of Sammy Maier. So Alexander Schlitner slips a spot, but will be no worse than 13th, and his previous best was 20th place in Winterberg. So that's an improvement. Not the second heat he wanted today. A slightly frustrating World Champs, but it's a sizable improvement on anything he's done previously in the World Championship arena.
Dan Barefoot holding the lead. I think this next sled, he could also jump. They're pretty close, all things considered. And if the Italians that changed anything in their sled setup, maybe for this ice temp, who knows?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a little biased. I have a teammate out there.
Hey, you're supposed to be biased. You're not a cool, calm, analytical commentator. You are an American slider. Now then, Amedeo Bagnis. Well, talk about up and down. Day one, 6th fastest, 18th fastest. Day two, only 15th fastest. Where is the revival for the Italian? 490 again. He started 470s in the first day, so 1,500 slower and more than his best starts. What's gone on overnight with Amedeo Bagnis? I don't know if he's carrying a little bit of injury, but he's lost his starting speed. However, he is just building his advantage, or was, over Dan Barefoot.
Was a little nose up a little early into 10, so he's going to have to do some extra work to try to keep that advantage.
Speed is decent.
Still lower than Dan Barefoot, though. Yeah. Dan had second best speed next to Sammy Maier. It's going to come down to the wire, I think.
We might have a dead heat. We've had loads of them so far. How close is he in front?
Oh.
Whoa, yes he is. 53.64. Didn't know there was an Italian shortcut here, but he found one. We always talk about the final corner in Innsbruck, that big looping corner. The Austrians seem to have a little time warp there where they build speed that no one else does. But that was a good end to the competition for Amedeo Bagnis.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be happier with that one for sure. Just being able to kind of end on that high note, stand in the leader's box maybe for one or two sleds, depending on these next few. They're not as tight as the group that just came down with Dan and Schlitner, but anything can happen.
But he opened up, 3/10 margin over Dan Barefoot. And how much was he? Was like 600s in front after 3 heats. But for the silver medalist in St. Moritz 2 years ago, leading with 10 to go is probably not what he was hoping for. So Amedeo Bagnis leads from Dan Barefoot and Alexander Schlitner with a final 10 sleds still to come. So big crowd here watching in some pretty cold and blustery conditions, -7, -8, and the wind is, what was a breeze early on, is now about a 15 knot wind, so adding a bit of wind chill. You can see that everybody is well wrapped up.
I'd say 90% of that crowd was Austin Florin's friends and family, his wife Erica there, really excited.
Yeah. you know, the chance, especially in Lake Placid, you know, we were supposed to be here in 2021 for the Worlds, and we know why we weren't, and all of that. But especially here in Lake Placid, a great opportunity for friends and family to come to a race, because getting across to Europe for all those World Cup races or World Championships there is hellishly expensive these days.
Chris Stroop out in the crowd, former skeleton athlete for the U.S. A lot of alumni coming here to support right now, which has been amazing, kind of like a little family reunion, since we're not that big.
There you are, Alex Schlintner on the left, Sammy Maier on the right, Team Austria. Coach Terry Holland in the background. Again, you know, it's coming here, you're tapping into this massive bed of US talent over 20, 30, 40 years who are coming here to the World Championships. It's just great to see old friends on site here.
Definitely. I have a friend on the bobsled team that was at the airport last night, and he said that a woman on the board of USABS walked by and said, "I knew you were a bobsledder just by your legs." So it's quite the community.
Yeah. There you go. Well, Dan Barefoot talking the talk. Let's see what the remaining 10 sleds bring us. Final 10 sleds, IBSF Men's Skeleton World Championships in glorious Lake Placid in the USA. Kim Jisoo of Korea in 10th position after the first 3 of 4 heats. 8th fastest in the first heat. Hasn't managed a top 10 run in the next 2. 13th fastest only in run 2 and 3. So can he move up the order? Well, he's relatively well protected by a decent gap to our current leader, Amedeo Bagnis of Italy, but
he is having a tough top so far. 1, 2, 3, a lot of skidding, maybe some adjustments, losing a lot of that lead that he had already cut in half heading into curve 6 and 7.
Yeah, he's gone from 4100s up. He will be in the red at the next clock. This is going very badly wrong for Kim. 2 tenths back.
He's probably going to drop to Dan Barefoot at this point.
Beyond that, I think he's going to be absolutely in free fall. If he's within 6 or 7 tenths of Bagnis at the bottom, he'll have actually recovered quite well, and it's not recovering well at all.
No.
Slowest sled almost, 13th out of 16 sleds in terms of velocity, and all of that lost almost from the moment he got onto the sled. There you go, 6,700s back, 4 spots lost. So Bagnis moves up, Barefoot moves up, and Schlintner moves up. So Dan Barefoot in the top 10. He's second place, or just nearly in the top 10. Second place with 9 to go. Disaster unmitigated for Kim Jisoo.
Yeah, that's a tough one to end on for sure. You can see though on his top there, when you have, even if you have a strong push, if you're losing velocity, or comes out of 1 way too late, he holds onto that corner, he's trying to adjust with his toe really late into 2, and then now 3, just slamming nose into that wall and just trying to stay relaxed, but can't get the sled back under him.
Yeah. And once you've lost that speed, everything that you want to do with the sled is wrong, because you haven't got to carry the lines. He made his 3rd run. I don't think he likes that one anymore.
It's clear to start 1.
All right. So next up is our rookie this season. Not just World Championship rookie, but World Cup rookie. One of 2. He's got Lin Qinwei. He's quite the sensation. The last cup race.
So to pull back was pretty amazing.
482 getaway. He's had the fastest start in Heat 1, top 3 starts ever since. And when you've got a young slider like this, new championships, and he's starting well and somehow handling the speed, and you know you've got potential.
Absolutely. I'm sure coaches really early into 10. Might lose some speed here coming out. I know coaches though with young talent and with fast pushers, because at this point in this sport, if you're not fast at the start when you start out, and you know it's going to be hard to climb up. So
said so many times about young Alexander Tretyakov when he was setting start records, starting fastest and finishing 19th. I said if he ever learns to handle the speed, then look out, and he did learn. 53-52.
Nice.
Lin takes the lead away from Amedeo Bagnis, so Bagnis will be no worse than 10th. And again, you know, he is learning to handle that velocity. He's firing himself off the deck at the top. And yeah, you just eradicate a few mistakes and suddenly that speed comes with you. Plus, I'm loving the hair.
I know. The helmet hair for the guys is a real thing.
Yeah. But his is more like a bush that won't stop growing. A decent-looking run from Lin as well.
Yeah, just a little issue in 10 there, just maybe not as much speed as he wanted, but other than that, he held it together really well. Really low and calm on that sled.
Yeah.
Beautiful chicane. Takes
it in his stride, doesn't he? He just looks so relaxed. I mean, you've been around these guys a lot during the course of the World Cup races, so you've seen a lot of them. I've been very impressed with him. And Chen, well, Chen's got a lot more experience, 3 or 4 years now on the World Cup circuit, and this is his 4th World Championships, because they missed 2020. But yeah, he's the guy who is reliable and consistent, but just doesn't quite yet broken through into being really quick.
So far, though, he has a really good looking top. Pretty low coming through 3, maybe some overdriving there for this fast track.
4,400s up after 3 heats. Started a little slower than Lin Qinwei, and so he's
real late into 8. That can happen if you overdrive 7. That energy sucks you right back, and you go flying off the end. 10th best speed, not the slowest, but definitely doesn't carry that down into the lower labyrinth.
So from 3,200s up, where is he now at the chicane? 2,800s up, and he's recovering that speed. So he handled that well, didn't he? And
yeah, must just let it go after that.
Yeah, that's the experience. Don't panic, don't fight the sled. 1,200s up at the line. Came close, but he hangs on.
There might have been some magic in that one.
That was a bit of a Code Brown moment halfway into the Devil's Highway.
Sometimes we say there's no friction when you're in the air.
Well, so. This is very true. It's all right, it's not the FIA, you're fine.
Here it is, here's it again. Going into 8, just really light. You see that profile that he's just not on. Almost into the woodwork, probably hits the roof with his left foot there.
Yeah.
And yeah, just has a tough time in 9. But makes up with a really nice chicane. I think that he just kind of knew he had to let it fly.
Yeah, nothing to lose at that stage.
It's true. Wenhao, you're incredible.
Yes, he is. So Chen Wenhao leads Lin Qinwei as we have 7 to go. Ukraine's Vladyslav Heraskevych, World Championship best, a 10th place finish in his previous 6 World Championships outings. A 2-time Winter Olympian, a Youth Olympian as well in 2016. His best ever World Cup result, a 4th place finish here in Lake Placid a few seasons ago. So it is a track that he knows well and loves.
Little tap of 4-4. Luckily with that experience, he's going to be able to handle it coming into 5 and 6. That really tight transition, the TV does not do it justice. You are on and off those curves real fast.
Dropped behind Chen, but had a much better rate. Didn't take off, didn't nearly roll it. So suddenly he's back in front. 3rd best speed.
3rd best speed, here it comes. He's going to roll down this track for sure, in a good way.
Yeah. Keeps his form. He's really
nice,
fearless on the sled. Excellent start from Vladyslav Heraskevych. This is going to be comfortably his best ever World Championship result, and it's not over yet. Across the line, a big run, 53.61. There's his proud dad, Mikhail.
Yeah, Vlad with a little bit of a trouble in the highway, and so he really made up for it, like we said, down the bottom. And I think that his closest competitor here, Austin Florian, I think the advantage there is that Austin knows this highway.
Yeah. Well, we've seen a couple of very loose runs in the final heat. Vladyslav Heraskevych, personal best ever World Championship result.
Got quite a few fans in the crowd for him as well.
Lots of support for the Ukrainian athletes, and Vlad is our leader with 6 to go. And now, the noise ramps up yet again. Sarah's sitting back in her chair. Okay, she started to do do the shallow breathing exercises. Don't overventilate, hyperventilate. Austin Florian, Austin, if you can, and I don't know how you do, just relax into this, buddy. He's got such a fast start. 10th fastest heat 1, 6th fastest heat 2, 3rd best run in heat 3. That's what he needs again. But he needs not to want it so badly. 4:79, a great start.
Again, Austin knows this track. He has so many friends and family here that love him and is supporting him. Beautiful entry into 4 and into 5. I think Austin is about to lay down something really special here.
This could be absolutely epic for Austin Florian. If the highway treats him well, and if he gets a good push off here, then he really has an opportunity, but he hasn't got great speed. The gap will come down to Heraskevych.
Little on that left wall, taking a few extra taps. It's going to come close. I think he's going to have enough track to keep his spot here.
Drops behind the Ukrainian slider, not by much, but by too much. 53.87. Austin slips a spot. It's not guaranteed that he won't end up in the top half dozen, but at the moment he is second with 5 to go. And that is the nature of this track. 19 corners, more than that in terms of trip hazards, and it only takes 1 to get you.
Yeah, that's tough. I think that when he looks back at this run, he's going to see a few things that he wish he did differently. But overall, I think that Austin had an amazing performance here. I know he was really hungry to be back in Lake Placid for the World Champs, like you mentioned earlier. Yeah. Delayed a few years, so he's been waiting a long time for this.
Yeah, World Championship best ever result has been a 9th place. And right now, he is on target to improve on that. A personal best at home with all the love and support. Drive it like you stole it. Don't be gentle, it's a rental. Well, it isn't, but I mean, yeah, you just have to leave nothing on the table here. And Austin was only 100th behind the 5th place slider, Christopher Groothair. Now, he's wearing a different coloured jersey to everybody else. That's because he is the reigning world champion, won in Winterberg, his 3rd world championship title since 2020. And in that period of 4 years, he has also been the Olympic champion.
Nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy. Only 1 title eluded him, and that was the 23 Worlds that Matt Weston won. So he is an astonishing slider and survivalist. He just digs it out every time. 1100s over Vlad, down to 800s over Vlad, 500s back.
Nice entry into 10. 9th best speed, though. Maybe a little too much work here.
Elbow out steering. When did you see Groothair steer with his elbow out?
Maybe something's not feeling just as normal as he likes it. But
and he's going to drop behind Austin Florian as well. There's only 1600s first to second. On the splits, he is behind Florian. Is he going to plummet down to 3rd at the line? He does! Vladyslav Heraskevych leads. Austin Florian moves up in his slipstream, and Groothair slips too.
Definitely a surprise there for Groothair. I think that, again, these guys, 4 heats, it's a long time to stay focused, to stay in it. If anyone's experienced, it's Tim, and so he's going to go back and say, all right, not next time.
Do you know why I'm not rich? Because I bet on skeleton races. Genuinely, you cannot call this stuff.
No.
You just can't.
Truly cannot.
I always say it's the rock and roll lifestyle of sliding, and it is so random and erratic sometimes. And especially on this track, there's really no room to recover from a mistake.
Yeah, and it, like I've said before, it'll bite you right back. So.
All right. Well, he's won 3 World Championships and Olympic gold in 5 years. Today is not Christopher Groothair's day. But Vladyslav Heraskevych leads as we get to the top 4. Yin Cheng of China. Is the track changing? Is it frosting up, as you suggested before we came on air, that maybe it might? It still looks pretty glossy at the start. Ooh!
Big pull right out of the grooves heading into curve 1. That just means you're going to do a lot of work. Really tough velocity there. 17th best coming out of curve 1, which is a pretty abnormal to see in this top group. Really late into 4, again, is just going to have to do extra work. And when I say extra work, I mean kind of driving that knee into your sled, putting that blade into the ice more.
Heraskevych is watching this with growing interest. 2900s up, 1400s up, 1200s is the gap. Yin with 4th best speed. Vlad was quicker. The gap will come down again, but he has got it, the program back on rails.
9th best speed, only 400s.
He hasn't got it. Vladyslav was absolutely flying. Heraskevych is the fastest man in the heart. He's going to drop behind Austin Florian as well. He's 500s ahead of Florian, but Vlad leads with 3 to go. Dare he even dream? And breathe. Wow.
Trying to do all this math in my head real quick. We got 2 10s. He said 2 10s up on Marcus here. I know Marcus is looking to build on this next run, so this men's race definitely became interesting real fast today. Yeah. Fast ice will do that.
And again, I said in the intro, Matt Weston's got the lead. It is not a given.
So true.
There are no mulligans. You don't get a drop. Everything has to be on the money. And Yin there, having clawed his way up, slipped a little bit back down.
A little bit. I do see it's snowing outside here, so that also could be playing a part for some of these guys. Especially in that chicane area.
For the medals, Marcus Wyatt was 100th out of bronze a year ago in Winterberg. 2nd and 3rd in the first day, only 6th fastest in his first heats this morning. He needs to turn that around. This needs to be a huge one for Marcus Wyatt.
A nice looking start at 486.
Second after heat 1, tied for 2nd overnight.
Really nice looking 3-4. You see that he barely touches that wall. Ooh, late going into 6, you're going to see him have to do extra work through there. Big flop out of 7.
Building his advantage from 49 to 5600s. He's still got half a second at Shady.
14th best speed though coming out of Shady. That's what can happen in the highway. Just can you feel like you're going, you got it, and then it just drops.
14th best speed, gaps coming down, 3800s though as he clears the chicane. It wasn't a bad chicane. He should have enough.
Should be able to do it.
He should be in the medals. Is it a World Championship medal? It is for Marcus Wyatt. 53.88.
Nice job, Koos.
He leads with 2 to go. He has a World Championship medal.
I love watching them come out the outrun any athlete, even if it's not good. You can just, they're so attached to the sport. You know when they do well, but they do bad, and it's a mixed bag of emotions down there.
Well, friends and family, Matt Weston's friends and family there as well. We saw Martins Ducours, the legend of the sport with the sled. He knows that this is super important for Matt. After 100th away last year,
Redemption tour, for sure.
Yeah, and there he is. He is the leader with 2 to go. Second in the overall season standings. He and Matt Weston went 1-2 the first time that's ever happened for British sliding. And now Axel Jungk. Axel looking for another World Championship silver medal. And he has had really, really strong championships. Look at that. 2nd fastest heat 1 tied with Marcus. 5th fastest run in both heats. He's still in the silver medal position. But the gaps are tiny here.
300s. That's nothing.
And he starts slower than Marcus Wyatt. So immediately he's on the back foot. 9th best velocity. 11th fastest start.
Really nice 3 to 4. A little early into 5.
Still in the red. He can't allow the gap to grow anymore in the highway. 1200s back.
Axel's taken that late line into 10 a few times now. I'm not sure if that's on purpose, but 18th best speed, I don't think it is.
Is it enough Vladyslav Heraskevych in second place is just 11 hundredths back. At the moment, Axel Jungk is going to fall out of the medals unless he has a sensational heart.
Oh my goodness.
He does.
Wow.
He does.
Ooh, sneaks it in there.
Whoa. Marcus Wyatt leads with 1 to go. Axel Jungk is in the medals, and Vladyslav Heraskevych denied, possibly, but
wow.
Don't count your chickens. Axel's in the medals.
Axel, there you go.
A lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure, a lot of time, energy, money, sacrifices these athletes put into the sport.
Yeah.
Just let it out.
And none of that pressure coming from outside, all coming from within. That first to congratulate him is his, quote, teammate from Denmark, Rasmus Johansen.
Yeah.
Chris Grotehair will be there to offer his congratulations as well. It came close. Oh boy, I thought he was going to give a medal to Vladyslav Heraskevych, and in the end, he found enough in the heart. So Matt Weston, 1.68 seconds in front. It doesn't matter if he has a disaster. He's got to load safely. He does. He's got to come clean into 1. He does. Only the 9th best velocity, only the 9th fastest start. He was not attacking at maximum velocity there.
I'd love to know what's going through his head right now. Maybe not right now, but right before his run.
The danger is if you just try and go cautiously and safely, you're not doing what you did for the previous 3 runs. He will be pushing the envelope. 4th best speed for Matt Weston.
Definitely didn't have the best highway or 10. I would say this is maybe one of his slower runs, but still cooking.
120 kilometers an hour. Great speed from Matt Weston. He's heading down into the heart as the race leader. The 2023 world champion is now the 2025 world champion.
Absolutely amazing. Almost 2 seconds ahead of the competition.
Yeah. Massive margin of victory. Martin Stucors, Matthias Guggenberger, what a season they've had with the British athletes. 1-2 in the overall World Cup, 1-2 in the World Championships. And I couldn't tell you who's going to be happier there, Matt Weston or Marcus Wyatt. And Matt's down there in the blue jacket, his mum in the pale green jacket. They've been at every race.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, go Matty, go. And more often than not, he's gone.
Absolutely incredible. This has to be an awesome feeling heading into next year, into the big show.
And especially given the, I'm not going to say unmitigated disaster, but Beijing was a horror show. It was a horror story for Matt Weston. Went in with so much potential, and it all just completely, the wheels came off almost every time he looked at the track. But here, no, he's been on the money right from the moment he pushed off in the first heat. The first man down, he has never been led in all 4 heats. That wasn't the fastest run, it was only the 4th fastest run, but it was more than enough to win it. A 2-time world champion and the double World Cup champion as well. That is a good place to go into the off-season. And the release of tension as well. And you talked about the pressure. It is all internalized. They, sometimes people say, oh, you were really critical there. I said, no, I just pointed out what happened, and they're going to be the critical ones for the mistakes.
Absolutely.
And for Axel Jungk, I mean, he was jubilant to get him out. And Vladyslav Heraskevych, his best ever World Cup race result, a 4th place here in Lake Placid, and 4th place in the World Championships. What a run. What a 2 days for Vladyslav Heraskevych. Fantastic stuff. 5th place for Yin Cheng, 6th for Austin Florian, head of Crystal Grotehair, Wenhao Lin, Qinwei. So all 3 Chinese athletes in the top 10, and Amedeo Bagnis, the best of the Italians, with Jared Firestone in his first ever World Championships making the cut. Congratulations to him and to everybody who made it through. And there is your podium. And They will have their flowers. The award ceremony will be down outside the big Olympic Centre at the bottom of the track a little later on. It's a beaver.
It's a beaver.
There we go. I'd heard that they existed. I've never seen one personally. There we go. That's it. Your men's world championship is completed. Thank you for being with us, and thank you so much to Sarah Rodriguez as well for being as good behind the microphone as she's been on the sled all year, if not better. We will have the women's competition coming up this afternoon. The final 2 heats to decide the medals should be an absolute barn burner. Don't miss it. We'll see you then. Bye for now.
Yes! Woo! Yes!